Welcome, Beer Guys Radio. We are live, Facebook and YouTube, live streaming here with Silver Bluff Brewing. It's going to be a good time. We are going to have a good time. Nate, are we going to have a good time? Would you rather be elsewhere?
As the shirt,
he's wearing an Elsewhere Brewing shirt, so that's what I'm doing there. So, yeah, if you're watching the stream, please do feel free to leave any comments, and we'll be happy to chat with you in between segments. Last week, where some of our Facebook comments were not showing in our
that's
comment
right.
feed. So if you leave a comment and we don't reply to you, we apologize. We assure you it's just because for some reason the technical difficulties didn't let it show.
Should we say hi, a preemptive hi to Stephen Pete?
Stephen Pete.
Yeah, preemptive hi.
Cheers. Steve, you know what? I appreciate it. He comes and hangs with us every week. So we really
just in case we don't see the
Absolutely.
comment. I'm fairly sure we will, but in case we
it's
don't.
Good stuff. Even on his birthday. That's right. He sure did.
Yes. On his birthday, yeah.
But as I mentioned, Silver Bluff Brewing Company is our guest this week. We have Jeff Coyle, KC, with us. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is great. So happy to be here. Love the show.
Thank you. We appreciate that. It's always good to sit down and talk good beer. Good people, good beer, man. What more could you ask for?
It's always great being told out of the gate that they love the show. I like to be flattered.
I know it's starting off good.
It's working for
Brian's
me.
Like, go on.
Please continue.
Go on.
Tell me what you like about me.
Yes. Turn it around the whole show. The Brian Show.
That's right.
It's all about what
we have people come on.
Brian.
They think they're going to talk about themselves, and you just ask them what their thoughts about what you're wearing.
Go on.
Your looks and.
Ashton, do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of this beard? Should I put a little bit more on
my
it
top
or
5
less?
segments. We're going through my top 5 segments, the last 10 shows. Let's go. No,
that's it. Yeah. Break it down, man. Remember David Letterman back when he did that, his top 10 list? Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Gosh. That was a big deal when those came out. Too.
It was.
Was that a week? That wasn't weekly, was it? Was it every week?
Nightly?
Was it nightly?
But I think he did he do the type 10s every night, or was that a weekly thing? But
every night.
Yeah. It was every night. Okay. There was a different top 10 category. That was great. I like this.
Always ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fun.
Man, it's been a long time.
He looks old now. He's very white.
Yeah. Like
the hair and stuff. He's white.
He hasn't been on the show, and that show ended 25 years ago.
I watched it when I was a kid. So if that tells you anything about how that was. Me and Betty White used to watch it together.
That's right.
In our teens.
In your teens.
Good stuff. Well, guys, I tell you what, let's go. Let's do some radio again. Feel free to leave any comments. We'll be back in about 10 minutes and happy to chat with you. Nate, you got us going there. Are we ready to rock? Let's do this.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week, we are talking with Silver Bluff Brewing Company. I'm Tim Dennis, and with me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. Joining us today, we have Jeff Coyle and Kevin Coyle, co-founders of Silver Bluff Brewing Company. I think we're going to call Kevin KC. Are you preferring KC? I think we have
it. Man.
Okay. Either way. So we're going to talk about interesting things like Mexican lagers, brewing approachable beers with interesting ingredients like juniper berries and pine nuts, and we might get into plate tectonics. Guys, thanks for joining us.
All the fun topics, man. We should call Kevin Dr. K.
Dr. K.
And we should call him that. It's like, this is going to sound offensive. I probably shouldn't use this analogy, but those Dr. Peppers that aren't Dr. Pepper?
Oh, yeah. Off-brands or also-ran. Yeah.
Mr. T or something.
Doctor,
like, this guy isn't even a doctor.
We'll call him Mr. Pibb. That'll work, right? No.
That works. Sorry, guys.
Sorry. We won't do that. I promise not to do that.
Beer talk, brewing talk, Georgia. We're bringing it home this week, Brian, to the home state. And you actually visited Silver Bluff Brewing Company not long ago, didn't you, Brian?
Yeah. I was down in St. Simon's Island just before the New Year's Eve. I was there for New Year's, so hung out there, was looking around the island, enjoying the really nice, very nice weather, nice sun, and made a trip over to Brunswick. You know what? I had their beer at a nice grill on the island, and it was the one of the beers we're going to get into tonight with juniper berries. I'm like, this is really cool. I had to go over and check them out. Made my way over to Brunswick, and they've got a really nice facility there. And I went directly to the bar, sat there the entire time, and drank beer and obsessed over the menu and all that. And then,
of course,
got their contact information. Say, hey, let's have them on the show. The stuff I had, I really enjoyed. So I thought they're making good beer, and they're in a fun, exotic location that isn't very far away from us. So yeah, why not? Right?
Yeah.
That's an awesome spot.
Yeah.
Brian's review there. It's been a little while. So in 2018, Brian and I visited every brewery and brew pub in the state of Georgia. So we did the tour. We went around there, and it was Hop Soul Brewing.
Hop Soul was out there
just before they'd opened up, and then went to all the others, Savannah, Brunswick, all up down there. And we dipped down. Was it St. Mary's?
I think St. Mary's
Down
for
the very tip?
Brackish. I think.
Yeah, Brackish is still there.
Yeah.
Been a
Real
little
nice
while.
folks there. It's the first half of the trip was easy because we just covered like Metro Atlanta. But then it's like finding the time to go to the other four corners of the state took a little more work.
Yeah, and
we almost died.
That's right. The tornado.
We
chased by a
tornadic activity on the way home.
Yeah,
So.
that was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a lot easier to do it then. There's even more breweries far afield in different remote corners of Georgia. It would be very difficult to do now.
Now, guys, we had the blizzard of 2022 in Atlanta this week. It had to be a quarter of an inch, maybe or so.
If that, if it actually had accumulated, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like half an inch. Maybe it fell for quite a while.
How cold does it get over your way? Does the coastal help you? Do you avoid all that madness?
Much avoided. I think on Sunday it blew over a lawn chair, and that's about all we had.
Okay.
Yeah, it made for a chilly walk this morning, but other than that, it was pretty good. We don't get
brisk, huh?
Yeah, a little brisk.
I've lived in Golden Isles since 2008, and I think they've predicted snow once.
Predicted it once, okay, and that didn't happen. I take it then. Huh?
No, but all hell broke loose.
Of course,
the storefronts were, the store shelves were empty. Everybody was crazy, batting down the hatches, and I think there might have been a flurry. Well, that was about it.
I think that the madness has gotten worse because coupling it with COVID. Because I know before they would cancel, they'd shut things down on that. But I went out like 7:00 the night. I don't remember if it was the night of or after the blizzard, but my town was shut down. Gas stations were the only thing open. I mean, the Publix was closed. Kroger was closed. The grocery stores. It's like the only ones.
Even the Walmart.
So I didn't make it over to Walmart or Waffle House. Those would have been the two telltales there. If Waffle House was closed, I would have went home and just locked all the doors.
Yeah, at that point, just stay home and cry.
Give up.
Basically.
Just give up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Did anybody in the area preemptively crash their cars when it predicted there would be snow? Because typically in Atlanta, the minute there's bad weather, people immediately drive off the road. I think
we had quite a few people come in to stock up on lots of cases of beer, but other than that, we didn't see too many crashes.
Yeah, the only madness we get down here is hurricanes. So when we get the hurricane predictions, that's almost like your crazy blizzard, ice storm, connector stoppage, that kind of stuff.
It seems like maybe it's the coastal mindset, but it seems like more folks are stubborn about hurricanes. Like they're like, we're just gonna, like you said, we're gonna stock up on beer and we're gonna ride it out. We're gonna ride this out, man. So
especially in our case where we're mostly protected, but just got hit 2 times in the last 6 years. So
that figures, right? That's the way it goes.
It worked out, but no, it's been an interesting experience to see that happen and see how a lot or a little can happen. But when they prepare properly, it's good for selling a lot of beer, that's for sure.
That's it. They're going to start predicting the weather. Oh, it's going to snow tonight. Better come stock up.
You start up their own weather channel, and every single night it's going to be just disastrous weather.
Terrible.
This is the worst case of 75 degrees you've ever seen.
You don't want to get stuck with only IPA in your fridge. You got to diversify.
That's it.
You got to buy beekeepers.
The beekeeper. Yeah.
See, perfect, man. You got to do it. Speaking of diversifying, Brian.
Yes.
I heard that the Peruvians like to diversify their beer a little bit with some adjuncts. a fun little article that you found this week. So tell us about this Peruvian beer.
Yeah, so it's ancient Peruvians. They're not doing it so much now, but
right.
the Wari Empire, Wari, and apparently they were growing their empire. They were expanding, and what they like to do is they were drinking chicha, the chewed up corn beer that was what was being made, and they were putting in little I guess they're little berries, like little. They're basically what's sold a lot of places as pink peppercorns. Oh, no, sorry. That's the pepper beer that they did. They had two. That was their strong beer.
Okay.
They had these other seeds that they were putting in the beer that were mildly hallucinogenic. And it was thought, the archaeologists that found traces of this are thinking the reason they did this was that made them more, made it easier for them to persuade the people that were taking over their territory that they should team up with them, because basically you get bond, a spiritual and connectedness bond when you're tripping, basically. So they got these people drunk and tripping, and basically converted them over to their side as they grew their empire. So, and they speculate, they haven't proven it, that the compound plus the beer actually the two work together and were more than the sum of their parts. So it was a big thing they did then. It died out with the Wari Empire. Apparently, everybody coming on after that, the Incas did not do that. But the cool thing is they were doing it with commoners. It wasn't just for the nobility. And they were getting everybody drunk and high, basically.
Because what I saw is those hallucinogenics at that time were a luxury of the wealthy upper class, right?
Yeah.
So to go into another tribe and share with them was an even bigger deal, because it's not something that they could they could normally get.
It wasn't easily gotten. You had to be wealthy enough to send off an expedition hundreds of miles to go harvest them from where they were growing. So it was definitely something that typically the upper class would have at the time, but they were using it kind of for egalitarian way, like everybody, let's get everybody drunk and high. They'll all be on our team. And I don't know, maybe they got too drunk and high to fight off the Incans when they came along and got taken over. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, that was it.
Jeff, have you guys ever considered hallucinogenics in your beers?
Not quite.
Just put them out there like that.
That is about as much of a literal peace pipe. I mean, throw it in the beer.
Right.
That's pretty amazing. I know that with the chicha, they're chewing up the corn and spitting it into a bin.
Yeah.
To get those enzymes going. So to have to then on top of that throw some drugs in there is pretty bold move.
Yeah, about as adventurous as we get is the juniper berries in our holiday IPA there.
See,
we do have we have some things up our sleeve down the road if Jeff will let me do, but Jeff,
but not hallucinogenic. So
no, we're typically making like really good examples of classic styles, and now there's a lot of ideas that come in. It's we want to throw this into a beer, but yeah, with the juniper berries was a really cool experimental one. We thought it was going to be a little too aggressive to be something we distributed, but then it just came out perfect.
And anyway, if you have enough of our. It's like we have a few beers that are higher gravity. You have enough Beekeepers, which is an 8.3% double IPA we serve. You basically will be seeing things anyway. So you won't need to.
Right. You don't need the. You don't need
the Vilca seeds.
No, we don't need the
Vilca seeds.
Vilca seeds. Yeah.
Now,
That's what it was, Vilca.
Yeah. You sound like you're a little more open to getting a little crazier. Jeff, are you the one that reels it in here, keeps it classic a little more?
I enjoy a lot of the different types of beer, but I do tend to I'm the abominable no man sometimes. Yeah.
Oh gosh, you got to have one of those, man.
You do. You really do.
You know what? That's our time for this segment. We're going to have to take a break. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we'll be back very soon with more from Silver Bluff Brewing Company.
We can do an absinthe beer next time, Jeff.
There you go.
There you go. Right.
Wormwood
and with the Thujon or whatever.
Stuff.
Yeah, all that fun.
Yeah.
That's getting crazy right there. That's what I was thinking of. But I wouldn't need to be anywhere near that. That's Kevin Coyle and absinthe, not a good mix. No.
Ken stopped in. He said, Ken Obi Jones. Ken said he couldn't stick around, but he wanted to say, super nice to me. Georgia, Florida weekend, getting mixed cans, 6-pack, and a few dipper cans. All were very tasty. So thanks from Ken.
That's awesome.
All right, Ken.
That's good stuff.
And
Good
of course,
stuff.
I'll be saving the empty cans for Ken because he collects
Yeah.
all Georgia cans. So
And Dee's stopped in to say hi. Dee's, thanks so much
there we go.
for stopping by to say
Dees.
hi, Dee's. Yes.
He's got a hell of a jump shot.
Yes, he does.
Yes,
yeah.
he does.
Hey, Lee, what's up?
There we go. There we go. Having a good time with it. Good stuff. Thanks, y'all. We appreciate you stopping in here. Man, we've got this is tasty. So we are drinking, and we'll talk about this, of course, in the show. But Piercing Point Juicy Pale Ale. I've got to shout out the beers of the week when we get in the next segment. We didn't get time for that. So
yeah, I was just
I'll get to
thinking
it.
that. I noticed that all the comments were from YouTube. I'm gonna see if I can jump over on Facebook.
Well, Ken's on
my live.
Facebook. Ken's on Facebook.
Oh, is he? Okay.
So,
All right. Oh, yeah, he is. Okay. My bad. I thought we
You
might
see
be
the
missing
little
some of
logo
those.
now, don't you?
Yeah, I do
You see
see
what's
it.
up there.
I saw the little red YouTube ones. I didn't notice Ken was the blue one.
Mhm.
Okay, we're good. We're good then,
Yeah,
probably.
So we got it there. Good stuff. We did it. We made it happen.
Yep, we did.
Are we ready for some junipers? Let's
Before
do
we
it.
get into the other ones, we probably want to go that route. I'm
Cool.
thinking. So
Sounds good.
I do like the Piercing Point. I nearly brought some of the Beekeeper back, but I held off with it. I held off with it too. I didn't want to get too crazy. Also, my wife was watching, so
Yes, she always puts a damper there, huh?
she's like, "How much beer are you going to buy?" And I also brought back rum from your neighbors,
Richland, yeah.
Richland rum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I stopped
okay.
in. In fact, I stopped in there because I think I stopped in there first because they were open before you were, so I had rum first, which was a pregame with rum before I went and had beer.
What's the saying? Rum before beer? Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to rhyme with clear.
That's it.
You're in the clear.
You're in the clear.
No matter what.
Rum before beer. You're in the clear. Never fear. Oh, dear.
Yes, exactly.
Here.
I'm good, man. Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Get some more of that,
All right.
since it's cold and right here.
Nate, let's do it. Guys, we're going to get back into it. Talk more about Silver Bluff here. Oh, Nate, hold on. Put their names on the doohickey, please. I think it's just on brand. Scroll down to the bottom over there. Nope. Check maybe there or maybe settings.
Possibly the guests.
Cancel it
tab
here.
right
Let me
there?
take a look.
All right.
I know it's in there somewhere. It's in one.
This is
of
the
these.
riveting part of the video.
Yeah,
right
this is
here.
the fun part. Enjoy. Talk amongst yourselves.
Really exciting things are happening on this side that you can't see.
Yeah,
look closely
exactly.
at Tim's fingers
Oh, there
on the
it is.
mouse. That's all the activity.
For future reference, Nate.
Should have. Okay,
Oh,
there
look
we
at
go.
that.
All right. Ooh,
Look at that. Good
Okay,
stuff.
great.
I
Right.
give Kev the high five for putting Silver Bluff in his name as well. So
There
Hey,
you
man.
go.
Yeah,
Got it.
He didn't even have to tell me. How about it?
got the
Make
branding
sure.
down.
Yeah.
No, not really. I have to
You're
be.
not-
I have to be
you're-
focused to be kept on brand. You know.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I know that. That's you're pretty good about it, but I think I go a little further than you with, oh yeah, do this. Make sure that's in it. The branding, making sure
Oh, probably.
making sure you get caught in that.
Yeah,
Brian's
probably.
like, I'm just trying to drink a beer, man.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, no, you're not.
So I'm just trying
You're
to. I just enjoy beer. No, you
Every
do more
beer
than
you
enjoy
drink
beer.
now is work.
That's
Brian.
right. It's all.
Call you
Sometimes feels like
call
that.
you at 10 on a Friday. What you doing? Working.
Yeah,
Working on this 5th IPA.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
well, you just said, how do you make this socially acceptable? You said we'll start our own radio show. We said, how do you make this socially acceptable? We said we open up a brewery.
That's it, man. That's every angle. That's people have came in here and said, they're like, so you sit around and you talk about beer, you drink beer, and you talk to all these new brewers. We're like, yes. They're like, wow, what a racket. I'm like, I know. I'm not
It's-
going to
it's
argue that
amazing.
point with
Yes.
you. Yeah. Good stuff. Nate, I think we're ready, man. Let's rock and roll.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand. So if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular and unpopular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to Silver Bluff Brewing Company.
Silver Bluff Brewing Company. You know what, guys? I'm going to shout out our beers of the week really quick here, and then we'll dive into the conversation. We were chatting, having a good time in the first segment and didn't get to it. Thank you to The Nest for sponsoring the segment. Brian, do you know what's coming up next week at The Nest?
I think you're going to tell me, Tim.
I am going to tell you. It is their Chefs versus Brewers Reformation Beer Dinner, which we have attended before, annual event. A really good time they have with it. They have 6 courses, and on 3 of the courses, the brewer picks the beer pairing, and 3 of the courses, the chef picks the beer pairing. You go through the dinner, you pick your favorites, and they put a nice little trophy out there for the champion.
That's a great time.
It is a good time. It's
some of those,
very good time. Yeah.
Some of those pairings in the past I still think about. I still dream about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So head to check out the Nest Kennesaw, Instagram, Facebook, any of their websites. It's going to have info to see their Chefs versus Brewers dinner. And that is always a good time. But our beers of the week, Brian, as always, a good list of beers to drink from today. We have a couple from Silver Bluff Brewing Company. We have their Piercing Point Juicy Pale Ale, which we drank in the first segment.
Yes.
Really nice, tasty beer. We just poured their hot. So I know you dig those kind of things.
I do.
Put a little juniper in there.
Oh,
something along those lines. We also have a couple of others. I figured, Brian, the holiday theme, we've had these beers for a little bit. Want to get into them before it's 80 degrees here in Atlanta again. But from our friends at Highland Brewing, we have their Cold Mountain Super Spice. Brian. So we're going to get into that. And an Atlanta exclusive from Iron Hill Brewing. We have their Dystopias, which is an imperial stout that they have aged in Sam Adams Utopias barrels. So that'll be a cool one. You've tried that. I have not.
Yes. Yeah.
So that'll be a fun one to check out. But Silver Bluff Brewing Company in the Golden Isles. The Golden Isles. That just sounds nice. It sounds like a place you want to be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and your name. So the KC, can you talk history here on the name of the brewery?
Well, as far as the history goes, I'm going to turn that over to Jeff.
All right,
he's
Jeff,
able to tell that story better.
Man,
I can kind of tell where we came from, but I'm going to turn that over to Jeff.
Yeah, certainly. So Silver Bluff is we Golden Isles are made up of St. Simon's Island, Jekyll Island, Little St. Simon's, historic downtown Brunswick. And that area. And when we came and we were doing research of the area, it was about what could we do to tie all of these communities together and also Sea Island, obviously. And we identified that Silver Bluff was the name of the location, the land, right before the last time all the plates moved. And there was, major this was before this was before beer was even thought about, and the last time all the islands were together as one was when it was part of the Silver Bluff land formation. And so we said, we're going to bring the Golden Isles together with craft beer. And that's how we came together with Silver Bluff. Because, the Golden Isles are, it's every possible type of person. It's every possible type of person coming to visit. You've got nature folks coming down. You've got people coming down because they come down every year with their family to St. Simon's. You've got people who go to Sea Island. You've got, Brunswick is all different, characteristics of a place to be. And historic downtown Brunswick is a really special place. And we just wanted to bring them all together over a beer, and that became the premise for the company. So,
see, I always enjoy that. We teased last week. We had some geologists on the show. Primitive Beer would join us. And so we teased that we were going to be talking plate tectonics there.
So we got the payoff this time.
We actually are talking plate tectonics. I mean,
we are exactly. So we said, good
all
stuff.
All of our beer references go to things that you might see on a map. So Piercing Point's a great example. It's a geological formation when two parts of a plate kind of interchange. So you weren't
even more so than I realized at the time there.
I'm going to look at a map for Holiday IPA and see where I see that.
We didn't know Pangea.
That's an exception.
Yeah. You find it everywhere. Good times are had.
That's right. Everywhere. Yeah. I'm gonna let it slide because it's got juniper berries on it.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a good time. Who thought we'd get into Pangea on this show?
Basically that.
On that note, though, I've seen animations where they take like the continents that we have now and just kind of rotate them, and you can see you may not think about it seeing the map the way it is, but they show you, hey, look, this is the way these would have fit together when it was Pangea.
Sure.
And, split and drifted apart. So fascinating.
As a kid, I remember thinking like the South American, Africa, they're like, they look interestingly like they could have been together. Like those,
right.
I wouldn't have picked a lot of the other stuff because some of it really twisted around, but those two look like they slid right together. I'm like, well, that's interesting.
And they got a little get a little creative with it because sometimes coastlines eroded or changed or a little bit.
Yeah, you get volcanoes and pushing more land up or stuff falling into the ocean, that sort of thing. So
changing.
That's right. Changes.
Things be changing there.
So how did the brewery itself come to be? Now we know how the islands came to be, but the brewery itself, what's the background on getting that all together?
So the background on that, Jeff and I both had been home brewing for years, dabbled in college. I lived in Ireland for 5 years, and when I got back, started home brewing a lot more. And we started getting very good reviews in homebrew competitions. People were asking for beer all the time, and we were scoring quite well, both Jeff and I. So we decided that once we would get into a position professionally that we could open a brewery, Jeff and I were going to open this brewery. Mm-hmm. But we really couldn't do it by ourselves at that time. So we really needed some partners. Weren't looking, but needed some partners to get it going, and had pushed it off. And I think we were thinking around 2022, 2023. And back in, I believe it was 2017, a mutual friend of Jeff and I's and a mutual friend of Chris and Allie Moline, married couple, and the other two co-founders of Silver Bluff, they were thinking about opening a brewery also. And our expertise and our little specialties all melded together where, the things that Jeff and I aren't particularly good at, they're very good at. And the things that, from the craft brewery, the brewing aspect and production side, Jeff and I were better at. So I'll give a shout out to Bubba West with Sea Island Company, who put us together. And we met, actually. We talked on the phone a few times, and we met. The first time we met, we were looking at property. Chris is a realtor. He's like, let's look at these properties in downtown Brunswick. So I said to Jeff, let's challenge him. Let's see what we can do. So what did I do? I grabbed like my most complex beer I had, and I brought it with me. And I said, let's just take a look at their faces when they try it. So it was actually, we have it on tap right now, our Black Bank Stout. It's an American stout, aggressive. But this one was oak aged. I had aged it in a Hungarian oak barrel for a while, and it was a pretty complex beer. So I had a growler of it, and I poured it for them, and they both loved it. So in the back parking lot where we park our cars now, Chris and Allie tried that beer. We got together, we were talking, and really formed a good partnership at that point to get moving. So it took us a few years to get the ball rolling and get everything built in downtown, doing everything carefully calculated as we've done since we opened even. We opened July 1st of 2020, right in the midst of COVID.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
That's the way it works.
Honestly, you look back and it was kind of a blessing. We didn't have to be too aggressive. We had contingency plans. The Golden Isles, fortunately, was not hit as hard as other areas. So we were able to open in a responsible manner, and the production demands weren't as high then. So opened up with plans of getting our tap room going and distributing some canned beer around the local market. And over the past 18 months have grown in a controlled manner to the Savannah market and through some other parts of Southeast Georgia, with the goal of expanding that further over the next year.
Just keep stretching out there. Now, I heard everything you said, but I'm going to tell you something that locked into my head when you said it. You mentioned something about Hungarian oak.
I wrote that down too.
That's not something that you don't hear Hungarian oak that often. Why Hungarian oak? What's the character there that you were going for?
Because my brother bought me a Hungarian oak barrel.
There you go. Well, that'll do it.
My co-founder in my other business is a Hungarian descent, so I love everything Hungarian. But I would want to say our co-founders really drove the FOMO, really, because after the law change, SB 85, you know, it became a real thing that you could do this, right?
Sure.
And we probably wouldn't have done it had we not been pushed to say, oh gosh, they're going to do that. We have to. We either join
go right,
or they're going to.
Justin had already gone with Hop Soul. Hop Soul was open, and Justin was going, and we were like, "Hey, wait a second now. We were supposed to be first." Yeah.
See, got to get in.
Got to get
that
on
FOMO
it.
is real, man.
It is, even on the brewery side.
It is.
Yeah.
You are listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take another break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Silver Bluff Brewing Company.
I'm trying to remember the name of the place that we liked it so much we went there twice, but that's where I had the holiday IPA. What made me decide I wanted to go over there was I think it's called George's Sea Grill or something like that.
Yeah, George's Sea Grill. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. they have. Right. I think they had both your Mexican lager and this holiday IPA on.
Yeah, they're one of the best restaurants in Golden Isles. Just so consistent, ultra high quality. Zach there he's a super supporter. So yeah,
cool.
Their food is wonderful. You picked the right place. You got good taste. You got good taste.
So we've got a few comments here from Lee. Let's go. So go back up there. So the first thing she comments, pop up that one about silver, but we were talking about that as we got on here. We said we were going to call him Dr. K. So that's it. But some kind words from Lee here. So
awesome.
Sounds like a good community
somewhere up there it said beekeeper is the best. I don't know if we showed that.
Beekeeper is the best.
I know Lee loves the beekeeper. She's she's the beekeeper's biggest fan. Yeah,
gotcha.
Lee is fantastic. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Right.
Got a shout out.
Yes.
Pop up,
and she's got a great last name for beer too. Hoppy. I mean, come on.
Pop up Asa just because I don't know. Thank you. I think
yes,
we appreciate everyone joining us. So that's good stuff there. Absolutely. So,
and what's the war on? I don't know what you guys are asking him.
Yeah.
I'll have to Google that later. I hope it's not dirty in a different language.
I may have to blur that later. For all I know, we'll find out. So
I have to brush up on my Cyrillic.
Yes,
we don't quite have that.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
It's always
not
nice
as good with that myself. So unfortunately,
you're getting all that.
Right? He could be a PBR fan, right? They're Russian owned now, right? Aren't they?
Is it? I don't even know.
You know what?
I'm
not actually sure.
I don't know. Did we covered it a couple times? The PBR tweet. Do I have to say any more?
Oh,
than that
yes.
here?
Oh, yes.
Did you guys see that they found the guy that did the tweet and did an interview with him afterwards? Did you guys see that? And I really expected it to be like an intern, like a young intern. And dude's just like, I went too far. He was playing the Icarus move. He's like,
I flew too close to the sun.
Yeah. So he's like, it wasn't right for their brand. I'm like, whose brand
would that be right for?
Is this right for?
And well, I mean, if it were like KY jelly or something like that, maybe that.
There was we had a very long thread.
I don't think we had a very long thread
about that one. Yeah, we had a very long thread about that one amongst ourselves, and I was trying to figure it all out and what the heck was going on, and finally landed on yes, not for us, but good
not for us, not for us. And I thought it was funny. So he said his tweet, because we have to keep family friendly on here. We're not going we always keep clean, was about
consuming hindquarters.
Backside. Yes. In the most blunt way you can say that.
Yes.
And I thought it was funny that the interview that he did, he's like, well, I wasn't speaking literally. I was speaking metaphorically.
So it was okay. Well, my favorite part was dude said something to the effect of, I went too far in the right direction. I'm like, are you sure about the right direction with that?
Are you sure about that?
Too far, I think everybody agrees to. Are you sure it was the right direction, though?
So he doubled down, though.
He did. Questioned. Yes, he did.
Yes.
Doubled down on the tweet like 2 more times.
Yeah.
This is what it's about.
You would think.
That's true. Ask your mom or your dad.
Like you said, there was time to think between these tweets. It's not because I've done stuff you fire it and you're like, I don't know about that. He thought about it, then he's like, you know what?
Doubling down.
He kept flapping those wings to the sun, man.
Yeah,
So,
he got on that buzz. He got all that attention. It's like, I've hit it. I've hit it. This is going to be viral.
He pushed
Not
them all in
realizing
and
it
said,
was
"Here's it,
viral
here
in the
it
worst
is."
way.
Yeah.
I will say this: PBR got some hella marketing out of that.
Some
They
people
did.
said that they were going to start drinking as a result of that. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, more power to you.
I did see one tweet that said, "I've never been so close in my life to actually purchasing PBR." I'm like, you know what? Okay.
I'll be honest with you, a brand that I would not ordinarily buy, if they make me laugh, I might actually buy
You
it.
consider
Like
it,
one
sure.
time, I might
Yeah.
give them a shot if they do, you
Yeah.
know. And I don't know. No, I've had PBR in the past. I'm not any closer to buying one really right
The
now.
tweet didn't offend me.
No.
It wouldn't impact my opinion of the brand or anything. I'm like, I'm very much whatever with a lot of stuff, with most things. It's not going to affect me pro or con on buying the brand. And to be honest, I think most of the people that are buying PBR, I don't think they would have offended their core demographic.
It's not
there.
a classy lifestyle
Right.
brand or any kind of anything like that where it's the old. I've seen them at places I used to drink back when you could smoke in bars, old smoky dive bars, and
That's PBR.
they were hot.
The PBR.
You bought them in there, and you might hear people talking about that subject in there.
This wasn't Beluga Caviar. That
No.
Yeah.
So
my comment on the thread, and Kevin will probably remember this, was what they should have posted was their head of their brewing team with all the GABF medals around his neck saying, "We know beer. Our marketing team knows that other stuff."
Right there.
The ASS word. And that was my comment because frankly, those folks know beer. And they've done it all. And and the fact that their fastest growing beer is a hard coffee is a little bit different than to tell the story about. But they're an amazing team, and to see that, I was just like, come on.
Yeah. Dude was even saying, he's like, "Hey, I love PBR. I love the brand. I love the people." He's like, I regret that I caused any discomfort too,
They're good for a zany stunt every once in a while, though.
Yeah.
They've got a pretty good history.
I respected it.
Good stuff.
I thought it was quite entertaining.
Lean in.
Maybe you want to go out and buy I say 6-pack. They don't sell 6-packs. You got to buy a suitcase.
Oh, no, right.
That's right.
So, KC, do you see you using that tactic like in the marketing for the brewery or your day job possibly?
No, they don't. I don't know how to use the social media channels.
Okay, fair enough.
They don't let me.
Probably for the best. Yeah.
I have my own kind of Instagram account that I might repost on, but
okay, fair enough.
When something sounds a bit iffy, I'm always say, "Hey Jeff, what do you think?" He's like, "No."
So maybe it could just be as simple as a picture of the Silver Bluff pint, or a question mark and then a picture of a backside and then a question mark after that, and just let people fill in the gaps. I mean, that could be right. Just visual. Don't say anything.
Too vague. That may be too vague, and it may correlate the beer with backsides, which is not what you want.
I'm not a marketing guy.
You need the contrast. That was a bracing contrast in what he said there. But I think yours, you'd be a little too close to.
We need to
there.
do in the meme templates.
The bringing the aisles together. I think that was
that's right.
A little bit.
Yeah, bringing the aisles.
PBR
together.
Could get Ace Ventura to market for him.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. We got this. We should work for PBR.
I know, right? We'd be going even further in the right direction. They don't want that. They've made that clear.
As Kevin knows, if any of those ideas popped up, they would immediately surface in the planning and approvals thread on Slack, and immediately get shot down by one of the two people on this thread.
It'd be like, I keep typing this in and it keeps disappearing. Delete.
I've had way less shot down. I've had nowhere near that offensive.
Keep it clean, man.
I remember so true.
I had an idea one time for us to do when we were going to a beer festival, and we sell hats and shirts and all that stuff. And I think my idea was like t-shirts were $15 or 2 for $50 was my idea. And it was, I'm like, it'll be funny. People are like 2 for $50. What's the deal? I'm like, no, that's the deal,
Yeah.
And one of our, we've got 4 owners. One is super silent. The other is participant, but quiet, busy with her day job. But I think she was literally angry at me for even suggesting that. She's like, I'm not dealing with people asking about that. I'm not going to deal with that. I'm like, no, it's a joke. She's like, it's a bad joke.
We might revive that then,
and I think, you were opposed to it. You either didn't get it or were opposed to it.
How would I not get that?
Well,
that's the greatest thing ever.
Okay,
like if they don't get it, we get more money.
Becky, you're trumped. If I have this idea again, we're going with it. My glorious marketing idea.
I'm down with it. Now, I think that there's a good chance that we would have to field a lot of interesting questions. But it would get people to come over and interact, which is probably a good thing.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
And my only concern would be that people would just avoid buying more than one shirt because they're like, no, I'll take one shirt twice.
I will take one twice, and that's an option.
Sure, we can do that. So yeah, marketing is fun.
That's right. I have seen a place where did I see that? I saw that recently where that was really a thing, where it was actually a little bit more expensive to buy two at a time. And people were like, yeah.
See, I'm a competitive shopper at the grocery store. Do either of you guys do frequent grocery shopping or anything?
Course, yeah.
So
we grew up in a grocery store. So
okay. Yeah. So I'm looking, it's like one thing I like
cents per ounce or whatever.
Well, one thing I really like are the it's the Jamaican meat pies. What's the Sun-Kissed or Golden Crust?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So they sell these in the frozen section. You can get at home. And to be honest, I think they're the same ones they use in the restaurant. They sell a single for like $1.39. But the 2-pack or the 4-pack in a box is like $7.98. So it works. And you know what? I know what it is. It has to be volume sales. And it's just they're looking at spreadsheets and stuff to price this stuff. So I bet those singles move a lot quicker. So, yeah. So
it's convenience. It's knowing your customer. Convenience pack.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I'll load the cart up with singles. I'm not buying that 4-pack.
I was gonna say, wow, all right, yeah,
that's crazy talk, bro.
It is crazy.
It's crazy talk.
A lot of people make out like gangsters.
Well,
that way.
Again, marketing to a famous marketing story. You guys have probably heard this, but I think it may have been A&W.
I don't know if company?
Well, not the root beer company. They've got restaurants, burger restaurants, like through the Midwest.
I've actually seen one of those. Yeah.
But they launched a 3rd-pound burger as a competitor to the 1/4 pounder. And I think it was at the same price or something. I don't remember if exact same price, but basically it flopped because people thought
a third of a pound was less than
a 1/4 pound. Yeah. So, and that was it. Just the marketing that people are like, well, I'm not paying that for a 3rd pounder. Why would I want to do
what
that?
They should have done is kept that third of a pound and added a 1/4 pounder that was more expensive. Boom. Reward the smart people and let everybody else get
they
what
should have launched a 5th pound burger.
Burger. Yes. This seems so small for 5.
Let's give the people what they want.
That's right.
It's like making slim cans popular, right?
Yeah,
you're exactly right. Yeah, shaving 2 ounces off my half gallon of ice cream, putting it in a smaller carton and keeping the price the same.
Yep, that's exactly it. Shrinkflation, is that what they call that? Yeah,
something along those lines. Yeah, crazy. It's marketing, Nate. That's what it is.
Yep, marketing.
Is that a stork with the beer?
That is a stork with a beer.
Okay,
all right. Yeah. Somewhere a beer is being born. Oh, it's
shout
a full-on Pilsner glass.
Shout out to Elsewhere Brewing. Good place. You know what I was talking about the Jamaican meat pies, and they do, I think theirs is Argentinian style, I think, but they had a smoked trout meat pie down there. That was really good. So,
or an empanada or something.
We have
like that.
Empanada, correct. All right, I've digressed enough here. Let's get back into more Silver Bluff Brewing Company.
Get the that super spiced Cold Mountain.
Super spice.
I don't know. You're talking meat pies here, and I have to give a shout out to the Pie Society food truck in Savannah.
Okay. All right.
British food truck. They do fish and chips, but the meat pies, they come down to Silver Bluff. They're fantastic.
Is this like the pork pies that they do? Like the round? Okay. See, I've never had one of those, but we've got a
like beef pie. Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm on board.
A big part of what we do is we have trucks come, like vendors that have a trailer or bringing their stuff and we have food trucks out there all the time. It's been awesome. But Pie Society is definitely it's a crowd favorite. Makes the whole side of town smell delicious.
Oh wow! See,
That
that
almost
sounds like my
nice
kind of
side.
place there for
Amazing.
sure.
Hot pie talk.
Hot
I'm
pie
expecting
talk,
there
man.
to be many comments about this by the next segment.
When we did our coastal Georgia trip back in 2018, I think it was just called the Savannah Seafood Company. Is there a place in Savannah called Savannah Seafood Company?
Sounds familiar.
I
Or
don't know
something
that.
like that. It's I wish I could, but they did a crab pie.
Oh, that's
And
right.
I remember
yeah.
getting that crab pie, and to this day, that's probably the greatest thing I've ever eaten in my life. And we've got one of the guys that work for us that does our sound in the studio. He goes over there a good bit, and I've asked him to grab me pie, but he's so far complete disappointment every time he goes over there. Nate.
I don't go there anymore.
Oh, that's right. He took that
Well,
off
you
his
didn't bring
schedule.
any pie when you did.
He stopped
Okay.
going over there because he didn't want to have to mess with crab pie. Could you imagine
That's fair enough.
bringing all that? I mean, how great is that going to smell by the time you get it home?
Hot crab pie. Put it in a Yeti, wrap it in some warm towels, and drive like the wind.
Then we deep fry it. Oh, wait.
That's it.
Sorry, that's a different
Taco
thing.
Town.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's get back into it, Jets. Getting crazy over here.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What in tarnation?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, 93.7 WBQO in Brunswick, Georgia. Catch Beer Guys Radio on WBQO every Sunday at, oh, you know what? I don't think I updated the time on that. It's Saturday at 2, isn't it?
It is Saturday.
It's Saturday at 2.
New
Update.
time.
That's right.
New time.
Saturday at 2. So now let's get back to Silver Bluff Brewing Company.
Silver Bluff Brewing Company. Guys, we want to talk about, and Jeff, this seems like this I want to see if there's any controversy here because we want to talk about your philosophy on brewing. We saw a comment that you said, no filler ingredients there. And do you either of you guys brew at the brewery now? You do brew. Both of you brew there?
Kevin.
I do, but we have a great team now that,
Okay.
Yeah. I did a lot more on our first year when we were getting started.
Right.
But now that we have 3 full-time employees in the brew house, I really only have to help out. So a lot of the recipe development, that kind of stuff I get involved in. And a lot of the recipes are Jeff and I's old recipes that may have been modified or scaled up. But for the most part, we have a great team with Will Melvin, Director of Brew Ops, Thomas Arvin, and Big Zach in the cellar. We're good to go.
Got the crew, man. Put the solid crew together. You're all set, right?
Now, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of little quirks with brew houses, and if someone said, "Hey, Kev, go brew on the 15-barrel brew house," I'd be grabbing Thomas, going, "Hey, man, I need a little help with this here or there." The 3.5-barrel pilot system that we have is a little more manual, so I could pop right in there and brew. And when we did our I think the last beer that I brewed, Thomas and I brewed together, was we did a special Pilsner, pre-Prohibition Pilsner for the Brunswick 250th anniversary.
Yeah.
There's a fancy name for that that I can't quite remember. But the Brunswick 250th anniversary, we did a pre-pro Pilsner, and I got my hands on that one just because was a little bit special. Now, I would have liked to have been there yesterday.
I was there
yesterday.
yesterday.
Brunswick smelled like the west side of Dublin. We were brewing the Irish Stout.
Oh,
And,
okay. All right.
It just brings me back to when I lived in Dublin, that smell of that roasted barley and that Irish Stout going in. I would have liked to have had my hands on that, but I had to work that other job. But I did get over there for lunch to smell it, and it was a beautiful thing.
You mentioned brewing the dry Irish Stout, and I didn't even think that kind of, reminds me the time flies by. It is nearly dry Irish Stout season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Before we know it,
Yes, it
will
is.
be.
We had to brew it so it's ready for Patty's Day.
Right.
I would argue that it's always time for a dry Irish Stout.
always
I
a
am
good
always
time.
a fan. Speaking of that, it ties into a question I had. I noticed when I was there, you kind of have a nice gate on the front of it. Is that a little homage to the Guinness St. James gate by any chance, or is that just kind of just a coincidence that they happen to have little similarities.
That is the one design element in that brew house that I can take credit for.
Okay,
there you go.
So the
Everything
answer is yes.
Okay.
Everything else you
total
have to
homage.
give to Chris, Alley, Jeff, fantastic. But the Big Black Gate is an homage to the Big Black Gate at St. James. Yes,
For
That's
sure.
cool.
Yeah. Chris and Allie, they are, like as Kevin mentioned, Chris's background is in real estate. He's a realtor, and Allie is an event management, expert. So just designing the space to be perfect for, you were in the tap room, but also events, private events, special events, your office gathering, or even a wedding or reception. That was top priority. And we've created enough exciting spaces there that it worked out really, really well. It's a fun place, whether you're there with your kids or you're planning a reception, frankly. So
See,
I do recall from being there, I looked outside. I didn't really go outside because I was stuck at the bar. They have a really nice beer garden too. I can imagine there being a good Oktoberfest out there.
Brian says stuck at the bar, like he wasn't glued to the bar, so he had quick service.
I looked out. I kind of
I
leaned over and took a look at it. And
took a leak into their
took
beer
a look
garden.
at it. No, I didn't do that.
Yeah,
I definitely didn't do that at the bar. So
yeah,
we have really good cameras, and we have a few stories about that. That I won't share.
You can't prove anything.
I will for Oktoberfest though. A funny quick anecdote on that one is the first year we didn't know how many people were going to show up for Oktoberfest. Kevin will chuckle on this one. So we bought only a couple hundred half-liter Steins, and they were gone in 45 minutes. And everybody was like, "Where's the Steins?" And it was quite the experience. But year two, we corrected the number and then got a bunch of 1 liters for the diehards, and it was wild. I mean, we had that entire street covered. It was just an awesome experience. Our Oktoberfest, we had a traditional German band in the street. It was really striking. It was a home run for sure.
Beer. We were talking, I know it's a little bit off, but St. Patrick's Day coming up. We know that Savannah is just totally famous. Does that stretch down to the Golden Isles there?
We actually had one of our largest events for St. Patty's Day last year. We did we did a 5K where we had to chase the leprechaun. I was the leprechaun. Anyone who beat me got a 6-pack of golden ale, pot of gold. And one lawyer beat me, and his wife almost got me, but we only had to give away 1 6-pack, and then we had a beer mile afterwards. And I think people didn't really realize what they were drinking with the beer mile. We had some it hit some people pretty hard, but we had some really impressive feats in the beer mile. I think one guy ran the beer mile, so he chugged 4 beers and ran a mile in under 8 minutes. That was pretty impressive.
8-minute mile is impressive without the beer chugging, right? It's pretty good.
Yeah,
right?
Wow.
So Casey, I take it you're a pretty serious runner if you're willing to put up a 6-pack for anybody that can beat you in a 5K. Did you train extra hard before that so you didn't have to give away a lot of beer?
I didn't taper for it. I think I drank the night before.
Okay.
And I plan on doing it again this year, so I'm going to dress up. Although I wore the bushy red eyebrows and everything. I don't think they're going this year. I'll wear the top hat, but we're not.
Okay.
We're not doing the.
You lose the aerodynamics with those bushy eyebrows.
That's it, man. Slowed him down.
So the key
he wouldn't have had to give away any if he hadn't wore those high eyebrows.
No, the key is you give everybody a beer right before the race. Like, hey, complimentary beer for entering. You're like, they'll be so foamy and whatnot.
Yeah.
It'll
and
slow
put
them down.
some of them Peruvian seeds in
That's
there,
right.
too.
Some of those Vilca seeds. Yeah, that's right. Everybody they'll have a great time. They won't win, but they'll have a great
But they
time.
won't care that they don't win a 6-pack.
Exactly right. They will have won in a different way.
Yeah,
too.
and you may be able to take over their house according to the story.
Yes,
that we heard here. So
claim it for the Worry
great
Empire.
thing.
Yeah, brewery
Fun stuff,
expansion.
man.
That's it.
That's right.
That's right.
We've got our new tap room at this 3-bedroom house.
123 Main Street.
Right. Guys, so let's talk specifics of your beer here. We've drank a couple of them. Really enjoyed them, as I mentioned. The Piercing Point Juicy Pale Ale. We got your holiday IPA here. You have 4 core beers. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have our Mexican Lager, which is our primary, and we have 5 core beers effectively. We have the Mexican Lager, the IPA, Piercing Point Juicy Pale Ale, which you've had, Beekeeper Double IPA, and then we have Needle Rush Hefeweizen. And those are all the ones that we have in primary core. And then we have we'll do seasonals and then special releases. The Holiday IPA was a special release, and then we'll have seasonals roll out. We have a sour and a Czech Pils coming out as our next 2 seasonals, not yet released. So that's your exclusive.
Soon.
Very
tuned.
soon.
Now, are either of you responsible for the dissertation on Mexican lagers that's out there? Is that both or one of you? Jeff, is that your handiwork there?
Oh yeah,
a little bit of passion for those.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, big time. I have we both do. Kevin and I both have a passion of the everything from the darkest Vienna Lager to the yuckiest Clara adjunct thing, and how everything in between. And Kevin will tell you a little bit about that story. But yeah, we really wanted to do something that split the middle. We thought that's the best, I think, interpretation is right down the middle.
Jeff and I toiled over that recipe and both brewed that recipe multiple times, made very small adjustments. In a beer like that, the subtle changes in the grain bill are going to make a big difference. And we finally got it down, and we were ready. Like that was the beer we knew was going to be a home run, and the public supported that, and it is our number 1 seller, both in the tap room and distributed. And our IPA does quite well, and a Juicy Pale Ale right behind it. But that Mexican lager is the beer that we thought was going to really be the home run, and really has hit home down here as a great beach beer, a great beer for the Golden Isles.
We're going to talk more Mexican lager. We got to take a break, but I don't think we're done here yet. You are listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're going to take this break. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are going to take a break, but we'll be right back. Wow, I can't do it this time. I can do it. 3rd time's a charm. You ready? Are you ready? I'm ready. Right. Bite the pen. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do back with more from Silver Bluff Brewing Company. See, that's one good thing about us not being live on radio, because I just have to roll with it. I probably should do that anyhow. Just go. Just own it and go.
Hooray, you're number 3.
That's it. Yeah, we did it.
I know that I've listened to some podcasts that are larger than ours, if you can believe there are ones that are larger than ours. But
I don't.
I've heard them fumble words and just roll with it, and I'm like, all right, they don't edit that out. They just keep going. But they also, a lot of them go for like 2 hours or 3 hours. So at a certain point, I'm like, how much editing are you really going to do?
Joe Rogan, there's no telling. He'll just go. There's just no telling when we get there.
Yeah.
So we got some more love for Beekeeper here.
One of the best beers ever.
Sarah. Hey, she's from New York too. That one.
New York.
Yeah.
Unique New York.
New York. Get a rope. You guys remember that?
The paste commercials?
Yeah. There we go. All right.
Good stuff.
He'll be there tomorrow.
He will be there tomorrow.
So will I, and so will Kevin.
The gang's all here.
Yeah, exactly.
The gang is all here.
I think. What day is it today? I don't even know. No, maybe I don't know. Maybe
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Not Friday.
Live on Wednesdays. Is this 4? Man.
Oh yeah, we need to get into that Utopias thing. I only have a little bit, guys, so you might have to make do. It's only 64 ounces of this Imperial.
That's fine. We don't have to get into it here necessarily. I'm
surprised
we will get into it.
Barrels.
I would love to get a hold of those Utopias barrels.
Yeah. And I don't remember Mark. Is the guy that Iron Hill, right?
Yeah, Mark Edelson.
Edelson.
I think so. I think it's Edelson.
Yeah, it was a big
man. I hope he's not watching right now. I forgot his name.
When you hit your 25th anniversary, give old Sam a call.
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Yeah.
Right when I collect my Social Security check, the first.
That's right. Yeah.
I'll settle for that Hungarian oak barrel that we were talking about earlier. I pre-treated that with some High West double rye.
Okay.
Yeah, I like double rye.
And so that would be, those are the barrels I want to get. I want to get a hold of some High West barrels. That's a Utah distillery, but the guy, he's originally from Georgia. So I think I might have that in,
Cool.
That
that
double rye is quietly one of the most inexpensive but awesome ryes out there. I think it's like $35 a bottle. So good.
It keeps coming. It keeps coming down. They keep making more of it. It's great.
It's just rye Kool-Aid. Somebody gave. I don't know if that was you or Smalls gave that to me as like a birthday present.
I did. Now that you mentioned, I'd forgot.
I drank that thing in under a month.
Yeah.
It just a lot of my stuff that takes a while to go through. That I just knocking it back.
I just realized
so easy drinking.
We've got a couple. Kick it back.
We got a couple what?
We have a couple different highfalutin barrel beers in the studio right now because we also have the Boss Hog Bock.
Oh, that's right, the Boss Hog Bock.
Harpoon, right?
I believe that's Harpoon.
So they got a Boss Hog barrel that they aged a Bock beer
from Whistle Pig. Love those guys.
The Bock Hog.
The Bock Hog, yeah, and that considerably more pricey than that double rye. And one of them is like my everyday Kool-Aid. The other one, a little more special. It'll take a little more time.
I have a first year Boss Hog half drunk that I question my decisions to have ever opened it, although it is delicious. But I've looked recently at what those first year sealed Boss Hogs were going for, and I'm like,
So what was first year on that one? How old is that one in your hands?
I want to say it was 2010.
Okay,
sounds about right.
2010 to 2012.
Yeah,
I think when that came out, it was like a $300 bottle, right?
Back then, it was over 100, but not crazy.
Wasn't 300, maybe 150. I thought it was pricey when I first saw it. I did try it back in the day.
I would love to have a really nice bottle, a special occasion bottle. We had our friend and show sponsor, Anthony Storytime Construction.
Oh, that's right.
If you need a brewery built or expanded, call Storytime.
Yeah.
But he came in. What was the age statement on that one?
Was that a 21-year-old? Or was that,
no, it was older. 30?
It might have been
24. Anyhow,
it was old.
It was Irish whiskey, Redbreast.
Yeah.
And it was their special one.
Favorites.
And it came in a lacquered display case, and you had to, slide this thing out to get it. And you know what? I've tried some 25 and 30-year-old scotches, bourbons, different things there. And to be honest, a lot of the time, the flavor profile on ones a little younger, they mellow out a little too much to me. Guys, this is stellar. Unquestionably the best whiskey I've ever had in my life. And I think it's a $600 bottle. And
if you can find it.
If I found one, I would get that, and I'd take the rest of my life slowly sipping on it, And he was very generous to share with us. But even in that, you're a little cautious with the pours. It's an expensive bottle, but it was fantastic.
He was very generous with it.
It was super nice of him to share.
It was I believe it was the Redbreast 27-year-old.
27. Okay,
nice box. It's out of stock, but on their website it appears to sell for €520.
Okay,
and I think that he said he might have a contact, and I said, hey, if you do have a contact, I'd be interested in buying it. And knowing that I might be spending a lot, I think $700 or $800 is probably what I would have paid had that come through. It did not, and I'm actually disappointed, but also relieved.
Oh, happy
because I would have felt the need to buy it, but I also would have felt like that would be the most I've ever spent on a single bottle of anything alcoholic. Ever,
and let's face it, no matter who you are, I wouldn't say no matter who you are, that's a lot. If it is something like you said, you've had your Boss Hog 10 years now, even if you hold on this 10, 15 years or whatever, that doesn't change the fact that it's a $600 or $700 bottle. You can savor it, be your.
I have the policy of drinking it when I want to drink those now, because when they do go up in value and you've already opened them, there's nothing good that comes from that. Like I have the High West Rocky Mountain Rye, which was their 21 year. That thing's been gone for years. It was one of the best things I've ever had.
I helped you drink that one.
Yeah, you helped me out.
There you go.
And those are just, I mean, when you get something good, just open and drink it. Repent later.
I got the bottle of the Utopias. I think it was the 18 or 19. I forget what the year of the releases were, but I have a friend in Canada, and see, we're getting so shafted here in the States, guys, because it's $200, $300 bottles here. I forget what they call the Canadian liquor stores. There's a a term for it that they just use for them, but it was like $79 Canadian for a bottle of Utopias. And he's like, hey man, do you want some Utopias? I can get it for like 79 or 89 Canadian. And I'm like, absolutely.
I missed out on that.
Man.
I missed the. I think I was in the.
You
the
specifically passed.
Did
that.
I really?
You said no. I don't want this. So.
Yeah, I was probably making a point about the price of it. I regret that decision. You know what though? I would have had it already, and I did get to taste it eventually.
You did,
so maybe it was for the best.
Yeah, but that was one.
You can buy it in Florida now, but I know Georgia won't sell it.
No,
you can get it in Florida
because it's technically beer. So
I think Kevin one time said the best Utopias is one you get as a gift.
Absolutely.
There you go.
That's a really good point. If anybody's out there looking to give me a gift,
I shared it. I shared it with everybody. I got it.
I think you brought it in the studio a couple of times. I think. Yeah. It lasts a while because it is what it is, and it lasts.
Oh,
so yeah.
Kevin, the punchline there is Kevin's wife one year got him that as a gift.
2 years in a row.
Oh,
2 years in a row. So,
gotcha.
Yes.
See, there you go. Beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful.
She knows the weird beer system. She grew up in Sweden where they have Systembolaget, government-run liquor stores.
Oh, yes. Okay. I think I've heard stuff about that. Yeah. Fun, man. Fun. Yeah, let me get a pour before we get into it here.
So is it High West? I'm trying to think of who it is. Oh, maybe I'm thinking Compass Box. You guys familiar with Compass Box? I had something. I think the High West, do they do something about night? I forget what it is.
Midwinter Night's Dram.
Yes, I get that. I get that whenever I have a chance to get that, and I enjoy that a great deal. So
yes,
that's another great one.
That's an excellent winter one. I like the Yippee Ki-Yay as well.
Yes, I actually have a bottle, I think, of both of these at home that I
have a batch one of that still uncorked. Yeah,
I don't think I can claim that when I bought these things. If I think of it, I usually get into them and.
But the Midwinter Night's Dram, that's that might be my favorite of theirs.
It's just it went from $80 to $100 to $250. I'll never buy another bottle.
See, is it $250 now? Because I haven't bought it since it was like $80.
Like $250 now.
Me too.
Oh
like
wow! Okay, yeah, I guess I need to go slow.
I can never buy any new ones. That's beyond the level of okayness.
Yeah. We're getting a little into the crazy land there.
Just enjoy the double rye. That's it.
Yeah, right. The double rye is great.
$30.
I lean on Brian because Brian is much more apt to pay for a bottle. Like I've got my liquor cabinet at home. I've got a bourbon, two bourbons, a scotch. There's a tequila, there's a gin. That's good with me. Brian, he'll stock it up. So I just hang around till he buys it, and then I drink whatever he's got. So.
At a certain point, I'll have too much, and I'll wind up bringing some bottles in just because I don't want to get yelled at home for another bottle. So that has happened,
and that's how this cabinet over here got full of liquor bottles.
That's why we're staring at a pretty good selection of liquor over there. Honestly, pretty reasonable.
Hey guys, we're going to dive into some more Mexican lager here in the fourth segment. Is there anything else you want us to cover, mention, shout out here?
Mexican lager is great. That's a great topic.
Let's do some good
core topic.
Some hot Mexican lager.
And if there are more details about the upcoming beers, we could probably mention those briefly. I know they did say something about it. Was it a Pilsner? Let's come in and check Pilsner and a sour.
And a peach sour in the spring, and then our Czech Pilsner coming out, seasonal.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, we're going to be our Irish Red and our Irish Stout will be distributed in kegs. We're just not canning that for the masses. So we'll have those ready. We actually have sent out a significant amount of stout in the last 6 months, more than we thought, just because there's a shortage of Guinness. So get Guinness in Savannah, and hey, we're happy to oblige.
Silver lining to that supply chain issue we got right now. It's like we're doing gangbusters on stout right now.
I know.
Madness. Do it up. All right, Nate, let's do this, man.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Your revolution is over, Mr. Lebowski. Condolences, the bum's lost.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to Silver Bluff Brewing Company.
So as we mentioned when we went to break, we're going to get into some hot Mexican lager talk.
Yes.
Not hot lager talk like last week's hot
like
beer
glue
talk.
glue lager.
Glue lager.
Glue lager.
Yes, a
hot pokers put in. Have you tried that hot pokers in the
we're just gonna ignore him.
Okay,
and
never
just
mind.
keep moving along
Sorry.
here.
Keep
We're
going.
just gonna act like
Continue.
So there is a guide, as we mentioned. We kind of teased it on the previous segment. I believe it's called A Guide to the Misunderstood Beer Style of Mexican Lagers. And Jeff, that is your passion project. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I love writing long form content about beer and talking about beer, all different styles and types. And, with Mexican lager being our number one offering and something we're really passionate about, just making sure everybody knows the history behind it and also like what it means, because it's not a traditional style. And so
right.
That's really important. So
is that the common misconception, is just what it is?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people connect it to particular brands. It's a light beer that doesn't have
a Corona, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It's a Cade.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then what it doesn't do is explain all of the reasons why people call it Mexican lager, the history of Mexican lager, and that a lot of Mexican lagers that we call Mexican lagers aren't what they would consider to be their core
right.
beers. Traditionally it's going to be, German Austrian influenced Vienna Lager style was going to be the core. And then they just kept lightening up over time with adjuncts and things like that. And when we set out to build a Mexican lager, it was about what can we do that doesn't have any of the corners cut, that kind of toes the line between, like kind of slices the middle between a Vienna and a Clara, which would be more like a Corona style, that would have, that same type of appeal. And us being on the shore, it was a home run for us. So we made sure that we were kind of having not a light beer that had no backbone, and had a lot of adjuncts, but it was still true to what you could define it as a Mexican lager. So
yeah, and we can get sneaky crafty with it. That's the thing. It's taking your average, getting that Bud Light drinker to enjoy the craft beer and appreciate the fact that it has more body and has more flavor. And one thing about Vienna malt is that it doesn't take much, but it really can. It's enough to grab those guys and not really be too much for your average light lager drinker. So that beer is close to equal parts two-row Pilsner and Vienna malt, and just us really working on those percentages, and then the way that the Mexican lager yeast brings that little bit of a different flavor to the finish on the lager, and it's a workhorse too. I mean, we use it for most of the lagers in the brewery, the same yeast, but it brings that little bit of extra to, or that, like I said, that's that sneaky craftiness where your craft beer lover who likes to try everything on the menu. Brian brings the guy who only drinks Bud Light to the brewery, and you can sneak in that. You can sneak in that Mexican lager on him. He's like, you know what? I kind of like this. And the craft beer lover is going to like it as well and appreciate what we're doing with that.
Yeah, I thought it was cool when we had the Vienna. We actually made a Vienna lager as a seasonal in the fall, and we had it up against the Vienna, and that was such a great one too. And a lot of people were like, "Wow, you finally made that." And now we're thinking, hey, do we make a Clara? That might be another seasonal that we make, to just show the range of kind of that style of beer. And
get it done by Cinco de Mayo and do them all as a flight.
There you go.
Like just go right through it there.
That's
yes.
a great idea.
That's
Yeah,
great.
see,
Yes.
be a good time.
Now make sure you have a spot on that flight board for your limes. I'm going to ask this. I'm sure I know the answer to it already. Do you have limes there for people drinking this beer?
We're allowed to now.
Oh, are you?
Okay.
So you do.
We
Okay.
are allowed to. As of 2021. Prior to that, we wouldn't have been allowed to. But we are. It's an option. You are allowed to have those in a production tap room.
Now he says allowed to, but he didn't
This
really
gotta be
answer if he
beer
actually
laws.
has it there.
It's your
Yes,
choice,
you do.
but no, you can have one if you request.
Oh, okay, all
There you
right. Because
go.
I
See,
remember
there you go.
when I was looking through that, you were very strongly opposed to the limes. I thought.
And
It is.
we're self-proclaimed beer geeks, but we're not beer snobs.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I feel that. Yeah, sure. I
Jeff,
get it.
Jeff was just talking about the respect he had for PBR and all their medals.
Mhm.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do. So, repeatability with a style like that, it's hard to do. So with us, if someone wants a lime in their beer because that's what they enjoy, I'm not a beer snob about it. We're just beer geeks. I can geek out about it all day. But
I mean, when I order that beer, I will consciously say no fruit.
No fruit,
but
don't
I'm
do it
not
to
going
me.
to. I'm not going to force that on anyone. And also, if someone wants to talk Mexican lager, also there's a lot of amazing beer coming out of Mexico that isn't from the major conglomerates. And I love to talk about those things too, because even a Bohemian who is part of a big conglomerate now, they have 6 beers in their range, and nobody gets to taste those unless you're in Mexico. But there's a lot of microbrews that we just don't get. It's just like Canada. Getting Canadian beers here, Canadian microbrews, getting them here is impossible.
Who's the Toronto one? Is it Bellwoods? Does that sound right? The
Toronto
brewery?
yeah.
And they do some great stuff.
They do.
So
we're always talking about that. Like, why isn't there more Mexican micro? Because there's some amazing breweries there, and you can't get them unless you visit. I'm good friends with the one of the founders of Brewster's in Canada, which is a major brew pub chain there. Based in Calgary, Edmonton, and Saskatchewan, and he's always just like, I don't get to look at any of your beers, your micros, and you don't get to look at any of ours. So
there you go.
Another piece of this is I would love to be able to figure out what can we do to get more Mexican, craft brew in the United States, because there's a lot of amazing breweries.
Well, we've got a buddy that recently moved to Mexico. He was from Atlanta, and he used to vacation there a lot. Just loved the place and went down there. And a very big beer guy, and he does a Friday beer, and so he's been featuring a lot of these Mexican breweries that he's finding down there, and we're getting to see. And so I'm sure he's having a blast.
Yeah,
total new beer scene for him.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by it because it occurs to me. I didn't really think about it before now, but I have no idea what the actual Mexican craft beer scene is like at all, because I don't think we see any of it up here at all. Like all we see is the big stuff. So are they doing a ton of Vienna lagers down there? Or are they making great
There's really no way to know, Brian.
It's impossible for anybody to know.
Yeah.
Well, in the article that you're mentioning, I mentioned that nearly over 90% of what you see is FEMSA or Modelo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over 90%.
And that's it. And that's fine when I've been hit in warm tropical environments, and that was what was being poured. And I put the fruit in it because it's basically water. So
like you said, we love good craft beer, but I'm not. I was down visiting a friend in Tampa one time. There's a place in Tampa called Shell Island where there's this shallows where you can park your boat and just kind of basically walk in the water there. It's hot, it's sunny, there's salt water in your face, and he had a cooler full of Miller Lite. I happily drank 3,200 of those that day because it was perfect in the sun, the salt, and I'm like, these are great.
With or without lime, though, Tim?
I put actually a whole banana in each
okay.
can.
Well, that's even better.
I like
whole
to drink
banana.
Yes. Yeah, it was delicious.
Sounds fantastic.
Miller Heffa-Lite.
Heffa-Lite. There you go. So. Excellent.
That's one thing, though, talking about the fruit, and that I think it's hilarious that the same people that are scoffing at your orange slice and your hef are the guys lining up for milkshake IPAs. This is the Venn diagram and crosses over there.
And the smoothie sours or the heavily fruited sours, to the point where it really is nothing but a smoothie with a little bit of alcohol.
But don't be putting an orange in your hef.
That's
just wrong.
That's terrible.
Now, what is with breweries now doing their Mexican lagers out there, is there anything that you think is consistently across the board from American craft brewers that they're messing up with the Mexican lager?
No, I think it's where they're taking too tight of a stance on it being exactly like a Corona and exactly like a Vienna.
Okay.
They're not taking a little bit of license to make that line. You can pull that line a little bit. You can use ingredients that are French. You can use ingredients that are Austrian, and still have success and make it wonderful. I'm spacing a little bit, but Sublime was one. You guys can remind me who did.
Sure.
They crushed that. It was was it AleSmith, I think.
I believe it was.
It
Yeah.
was
AleSmith made
yeah.
that Sublime. I mean, that was a great example of one where they towed it a little bit away from Vienna and just.
Well, and then there's Arches as well. Arches makes a great. It's even more on the Vienna side, and that's a great Mexican lager, and it's right there, here in Georgia. So.
Oh, that's the Mexican Empire, isn't it? Yeah.
To speak to your point, someone was asking on Reddit's Atlanta Beer Forum for Mexican lagers. I think Cinco de Mayo or something. They were trying to celebrate that, and they're like, "Well, Arches has Mexican Empire." They're like, "Well, yeah, but that's not a Mexican lager. That's a Vienna lager." But it opened a good discussion about, well, actually, they're like, "Oh, okay, cool."
They're all Mexican lagers. I would love to see Cinco de Mayo have 4 or 5 different styles of beer featured.
Sure, spread it out some instead of your buckets of Corona, right? Yeah. Well, we are being told that we're out of time, Brian.
Yeah.
We do that when we get to talking beer. Jeff, KC, Silver Bluff Brewing Company, Brunswick, Georgia, the Golden Isles, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that about wraps it up. Absolutely. Well, that does wrap it up, Brian, for this week's episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. We would love for you to come back and join us next week. Brian, 50 states, 50 beers next week with Jason Murphy. We're going to talk about his article that he wrote for Porch Drinking, covering some unknown breweries across our country. It's going to be a good time. We hope that you have a good week. Thanks for tuning in. For more craft beer info, follow us online. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Cheers. Clear.
All right.
Claro,
yes. Claro, yes.
By the way, Jason's a good friend of Silver Bluff, so feel free to bring us up.
Oh, cool. Okay, good deal.
All right.
Yeah, we'll mention that.
He's been really cool. He's a cool dude.
Good. We were chatting. We just started chatting on Instagram, and he's referred some breweries. He's like, "You guys need to check out this brewery." So we call and have him on the show. I'll mention to him some. I think some that we shouted out, he hit up for his article and stuff. And
it's some of that. And one of them, he really liked the episode we were talking. I'm forgetting the brewery, but it's Dr. Bill Syak.
Dr. Bill Syak. That
Syak,
is
Wild Barrel.
Wild Barrel.
This show that we did on Wild Barrel.
He ordered from Doka Beer.
Oh, did he? Oh, cool. Yeah.
He got the kimchi sour.
Oh,
yeah.
Jeez. So, we didn't even get the kimchi sour.
So we're looking, this will be my first time meeting him. We're internet buds. We chat on social and all that. So he's been
such a great supporter, and I love him so much. So we'll promote that show as well. So for you.
Excellent.
Cool, man.
Excellent. Thank you.
And we've got Kevin here. Kevin says you need to send some to Michigan.
Oh,
yeah. You got to get it.
Get in line after Atlanta.
There.
Send some to Atlanta first, and we'll send what we don't use to Michigan.
That's it.
Yeah.
We'll do that. The Michigan leftovers.
That's
Poor
right.
Michigan.
Yeah.
No, Michigan does send us M43 now.
They do. We won't drink all of it on the way
exchange.
through. Yeah.
What's that? And hops? Yeah, good point. Yeah. All those Bell's beers and stuff.
That's true.
So.
True. Yeah.
Hey, Michigan Hop Exchange has been Michigan Hop Alliance, I should say.
Right.
Has been great to fill. A new brewery. We don't have. I mean, we have hop contracts, but we hit second priority. And the Michigan Hop Alliance has been a great place for us to fill the needs of some of the more kind of exclusive hops for some of our beers. We got some, and even getting Australian hops. We've been getting those through Michigan because most of our regular suppliers, we can't get them. All the big guys scoff them all up.
See,
So,
now, you know what? This is going to be extra content for those that watch the stream, but something I want to mention, you mentioned being a smaller, newer brewery. You don't have these contracts. So you're not getting, and Scofflaw got so much grief because they commented, they're like, we've got, second pick of hops and this and that. So people ran away with that, made a joke of it. Oh, we've got the crappiest hops. And
the crappiest selection of hops. Yeah.
As a new brewer, it is a bit of a challenge for you to get that first pick cream of the crop stuff. And you do have to grow a little bit in that. So
the toughest part about that is, going in, being open for 6 months, well, not even 6 months, we had to try and make predictions on what we needed. Right. And tried to form, and actually we did form some contracts with just minimums on what we thought we were going to sell. So, are the hops we're using for the Mexican lager, our hops, we got some Simcoe and Amarillo in our IPA, which is more of a traditional IPA. We made sure to get enough of those, but things like Beekeeper that blew up, like Beekeeper was not a core beer, and Beekeeper's got a ton of Galaxy in it. That's an Australian
that's going to be a tough one. Yeah.
And it's hard to get. So we've been trying, we got it on the exchange, Lupulin Exchange, where you're buying from other breweries. You're trying to get, and Michigan Hop Alliance, we've got some from them. It's been a little bit tough to get some of those. And then the Juicy Pale Ale has a bunch of exclusive hops not to be named.
Okay. Secret. Super secret.
I will say there's cashmere in there, and that does bring a nice nose to it.
So what they're saying is they're buying a lot of hops that fell off the back of a truck.
Yes. Jeff and I are from Jersey.
Trench coat with the hops
in there.
Can I interest you in some hops?
Yes,
we're buying the Jersey hops. The Jersey
hops. We were born in Jersey hops, so we know. It falls off the truck, it's out.
Jersey boys.
Yeah,
that's it, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, guys, we appreciate it. It's been great chatting with you. We won't hold you all night here. The show, you know what? Let me wrap up here online with the feed, and we're going to chat with you just a second. So hang on. Facebook, YouTube, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining the conversation. We greatly appreciate it. We'll be back next week. We're going to talk about those 50 states, 50 beers, and we hope you come back and join us. Until then, have a great week. Cheers.